You know, we all use these apps on our phones and computers every single day, but have you ever stopped to think about what's actually happening behind the scenes? Well, today we're going to do just that. We are dissecting a modern to-do app to really see its full stack blueprint. We'll get to see how a seemingly simple list gets built into a professional, totally secure application. All right, let's dive in. I mean, think about it. A to-do list. It seems so simple, right? You just add a task, you check it off. But underneath that simple surface, whoa, there's this whole complex world of technology, security, and design. So yeah, let's pull back that curtain and really see what it takes to build one of these things properly. Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to look at the big picture blueprint. Then we'll walk through what it's like to actually use the app. After that, we're diving under the hood to see the tech, talk about the super important security and testing, and then finally, we'll peek at what's coming next. All right, section 1, the blueprint. And let me be clear, this isn't some simple Hello World project. No way. We're looking at a serious template here, one you could actually use to build real professional-grade full-stack applications. So at its core, this is what we call a full-stack application. And really all that means is that it's got two main parts that work together like a team. First, you've got the front end. That's everything you actually see and interact with in your browser. Then you've got the back end. Think of it as the powerful engine room you never see, running on a server somewhere, managing all the data and doing all the heavy lifting. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. Let's look at this from the user's point of view. How does this all come together when you're the one actually using the app? Like, what can you do? Well, the main thing is that you can manage the entire lifecycle of a task. In the dev world, we have a little acronym for this, CRUD. It stands for create, read, update, and delete. And that's exactly what you see here. You can create new tasks, you can read your list, you can update things as you go, and you can delete stuff when you're done. It's the whole shebang for managing your tasks. But here's the thing, it's not just some public list that anyone can see. A really key feature is secure user management. You can sign up for an account, you can log in, and what this does is it creates your own private protected dashboard. A little corner of the app where only you can see and manage your stuff. And every single time you go to your dashboard, the system makes sure it's actually you. Okay, now for what I think is the really fun part. Let's pop the hood and see what's powering this thing. We're going to look at the architecture, the technology, basically the engine that makes this whole app go. I love this breakdown because it makes so much sense. Just think of it like a restaurant, okay? The front end, which is built with Next.js, that's the dining room. It's where you sit, it's the experience you have. The back end, running on something called FastAPI, well, that's the super efficient kitchen in the back, taking all your requests and making it all happen. And the database, in this case, Neon PostgreSQL, that's the pantry, perfectly organized, keeping all the ingredients, your data, safe and ready to go. Now, that database choice, Serverless Postgres, is really, really smart. So what does serverless even mean? Well, it doesn't mean there are no servers. It just means the database basically manages itself. You know, it automatically scales up when a ton of people are using the app, and it scales right back down when things are quiet. And the huge win here, it lets developers just focus on building cool features, not on managing a bunch of infrastructure. It's a game changer. And that kitchen, the back end, it's not just fast, it's also incredibly well organized. It's built with what's called a modular design. So stick with the analogy, it's like having one specialty chef who only handles security, checking IDs at the door. That's the authentication part. And then you have another chef who just cooks the food. That's the task logic. Keeping them separate makes everything so much cleaner and way, way easier to maintain or upgrade down the road. Okay, let's be real. A great app isn't just about having cool features. It's about trust. Can you trust it with your data? So now we have to talk about security and testing. These are the absolutely critical behind-the-scenes things that make this whole app reliable and, most importantly, keep your information safe. And this really is the million-dollar question for any app that holds your personal information, right? If you've got a private list of your tasks, how can you be 100% sure that nobody else can get in and see it? Well, the answer is a clever bit of tech called JWT authentication. And honestly, the best way to picture it is like a hotel keycard. When you log in, the system hands you this temporary, super secure digital token. That's your keycard. From then on, every single time you try to do anything, view your tasks, edit a task, you have to show that keycard. If you don't have it, or if it's an old one that's expired, sorry, no access. It's that simple, and it's incredibly secure. And that keycard system works directly with the database. This quote here really nails it. The whole system is basically hardwired with one simple, unbreakable rule. You can only touch your own stuff. That's it. So even if somehow there was a bug somewhere else in the app, the database itself acts like a final wall, like a bouncer at the door, checking every single request to make absolutely sure your data stays yours. So that all sounds great, but how do you know it all works? How do you prove it? Well, that's where automated testing comes in. You can think of it like a 24/7 digital safety net. The system is constantly running these little tests in the background, making sure logins work, checking that the key cards are secure, and, this is the cool part, it's actively trying to break in and access other people's data just to make sure it fails every single time. This is how modern apps build that trust and stay solid. All right, let's wrap up by looking to the future. Because, a really great piece of software is never just done. It's more like a living thing that keeps growing and evolving. So what's on the roadmap for this app? And as you can see, the roadmap is packed with some really awesome features. We're talking things like push notifications so you never miss a deadline, adding tags and categories to keep everything organized, a sweet dark mode, of course, and even the ability to share task lists with your team. This is exactly how a good tool starts to become something you absolutely can't live without. So there you have it, the complete anatomy of a modern web app. We've seen the slick user interface on the front end, we've peeked inside the powerful engine on the back end, and we've understood the security that wraps around the whole thing. So now that you've seen how all these pieces click together, I've got a question for you. What's the one feature you think every single task app out there absolutely needs to have next? I'd love to know what you think. Thanks for joining me.